Hi, welcome to Learnstroke's PIB code or the Press Information Bureau Summary Analysis. PIB is very important for civil services prelims as well as mains, but the most important and fascinating part is people don't read this. Maybe because it is very bulky and some of them find it very uninteresting. But there is one important fact that whatever things that comes in the PIB is very important for prelims mains perspective. So we'll do a PIB code. Learnstroke is presenting a PIB code where we'll discuss the most important news items of the PIB. So this is the set 1 of September 2021. So let's see which are the most important news items of set 1's PIB code. Let's take an analysis of this. And the first news item that gained prominence in today's PIB was the Break Yoga Protocol app was launched. There's nothing but the app contains a lot of sustainability techniques and different type of yoga protocols that one should really do. So when you see an item like this, why is it important? Very important for GS paper 1 prelims and mains perspective from yoga, because yoga appears in the newspaper. So this question you can either use it if you get a question on yoga, and for prelims perspective you should prepare what is yoga. This is how we should use the PIB code. The next important news item of the PIB is recently IIT found out a new technology called as a plant-based biofilter. World's first plant-based smart air purifier called as the UBreathe Life was created. So very important from GS paper 3 environment, and as a prelims fact you need to find out what is the use and functions of a biofilter. So a lot of concepts relating to air pollution is very important here. So what do you mean by a plant-based biofilter? That means you keep a plant and the pollutants inside the room is automatically absorbed by the plant, and whatever the absorption takes place on the root zone. That means the deep root zone is the place where maximum pollutants are purified. So you create a living object and a living thing to purify the air. This is what is the principle of biofilter is all about. So from the prelims perspective we need to find out what is a smart biofilter. Let's quickly check out. IIT Ropa startup company has developed a living based purifier called as a UBreathe that amplifies air purification in indoor spaces. So smart biofilter is something that everybody is talking about. Find about what is a smart biofilter. And some of the plants which are popular are peace lily, snake plant and spider plant, which creates a good result for indoor air purification. And also biofilter plant based. That means what is the technique here? There is a technique here called as the urban Munnar effect. Sounds very tricky. It's called the urban Munnar effect. Pardon me if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but there is a technique called as the urban Munnar effect. So that is what I said. You have a living object inside and that object is actually doing the purification technique, and here the living thing is the plant. And whatever the room air interacts with the leaves and goes to the soil root zone where maximum pollutants are purified. So it has a technique of what is called as an urban Munnar effect, and also the concept of phytoremediation, very important. So phytoremediation is also a technique which removes pollutants from the air. For your prelims and mains perspective, find out in detail what do you mean by phytoremediation, biofilter process and the concept of air purification, because they are very important. So in short, biofilter is actually a pollution control technique using a bioreactor containing a living material. So you can, the common uses of biofilters are processing wastewater, capturing harmful chemicals or silt, the macrobiotic oxidation of etc. And I've got a question, MCQ question for you. Which of the following, such questions can really appear in the papers also. Which of the following are examples of biofiltration? Treatment ponds, sand filters, bioswales. So you might think bioswales can be a new thing. All the options for aspirants, find out what you mean by bioswales. And the answer is 1 and 3, 2 and 3, 2 only, 1, 2 and 3. Biofiltration, 1, 2, treatment of ponds, sand filters, bioswales. You can use biofiltration for all the 3. So the answer is 1, 2 and 3. And for all the aspirants, go find out what treatment of ponds, sand filters and bioswales is all about. So important for your prelims facts, etc. The next important topic is improving regional connectivity under UDAN. What is UDAN? It's called Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik. So something to do with air connectivity, GS paper 2 and 3, because it talks about a scheme. It talks about paper 3, GS paper 3. It talks about airport connectivity, and it also talks about Andaman Nicobar Islands. So all these are important from prelims mains perspective. So in this you should definitely know, when you talk about UDAN, you should also know about RCS. What is RCS? So let's quickly find out the important news item that came in. Improving connectivity under UDAN, regional connectivity scheme is something what you called as RCS, and Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik was launched in 2016 so that the unserved and underserved airports in India could be utilized properly for the common masses of this country, so that people could afford airplane connectivity. So right now in the news, they are talking about a concept of water aerodromes in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. That is why they have mentioned the islands of Swaraj Deep, Shahid Deep and Long Island. So remember, Andaman Nicobar Islands is very important from the perspective of geography. You should know the complete Andaman Nicobar Islands, the name of the islands. You can get a lot of questions in prelims. Which of the following are islands of Andaman? Swaraj, Shahid, Long. So expect all such questions. Read about UDAN more. Find about RCS, the regional connectivity scheme. The next important item here is replace the use of diesel with LNG in dumpers. GS paper 3 for mains, energy, prelims and mains. And for prelims, find out what are the uses, which of the following are important related to liquefied natural gas. What do you mean by liquefied natural gas? And this article in the PIB, the most important crux that you have to find is diesel should be replaced, because liquefied natural gas is actually a type of natural gas which is actually settled in a liquid state. The gas is actually settled into a liquid state, and the dumpers is what is called as a big trucks which carry coals in mines. So dumpers is a big truck which carry the coal in mines, and unimaginable levels of diesel is actually used for this whole process. Now the government of India has decided that let's use LNG, retrofit LNG in apart from diesel. So replace diesel with LNG. That is the purpose what it is talking about. Very good for carbon footprint. You can reduce the carbon footprint, reduce the carbon emission, etc. So let's find out. Liquefied natural gas is a natural gas that has been cooled to a liquid state. Very important. And the LNG should be retrofitted in the dumpers, which is called as the big trucks. And this is significant as the world's largest coal miner uses 4 lakh kiloliters of diesel per annum with an expense of 3,500 crores. So this should be reduced at any cost. So when you use LNG, the use of diesel will be reduced by 30 to 40% and the fuel cost by about 15% cut. So this will reduce the carbon emission drastically and can save 500 plus crores annually for the government. So we have to replace the diesel with LNG in dumpers. So this is very important from energy perspective, and please find out LNG for prelims perspective. Which of the following are true regarding LNG? Find it out. Then the Competition Commission of India, the CCI, also appeared in the PIB. Very important from the perspective of GS paper 2, governance, statutory, regulatory and various quasi-judicial bodies in India. Because CCI is one thing which will definitely appear throughout the news. So you can either expect it as a question for prelims and also for a question for mains. So Competition Commission of India, obviously you should find out, was launched established by the Government of India under the Competition Act of 2002 in 2009. So ultimately this is to ensure that there is a good spirited competition existing in India. So you can see the objective: eliminate practices having adverse effect on competition, promote and sustain competition, protect the interest of consumers, ensure freedom of trade in the market, establish a robust competitive environment. So what do you find out from this? Everything is directed towards the competition as well as the consumers. So often in the news you see that various companies go against a complaint with the CCI to get justice. So CCI, always remember, it is from the perspective of competition. So this was an important news item which came. And the next important item from GS paper 2 perspective and for the prelims, the Indo-Kazakhstan joint military exercises called as the Kaizen 21. So you know that for prelims, lot of such military exercises between different countries are very important. Now it is Kazakhstan. India has a lot of military exercises with different countries of the world. So those news definitely appear in 1 year's papers. So we have to know, because in prelims they can even ask a question for match the following. So Indo-Kazakhstan, it is Kaizen. And moving on to the next news item is GS paper 2, rural development, self-help groups and animal husbandry and dairying. As such, this is very important for GS paper 2, the role of self-help group, welfare schemes. So you can add role of self-help group is very important. The welfare schemes for vulnerable sections are all important in this concept. So this whole article talks about how the rural development along with self-help groups and animal husbandry and dairying, we should all come together so that this can help the farmers and the dairy farmers to double their income and have a better livestock production in India. So whole article talks about this from an exam perspective. Let's find out the important things that you should know. Definitely one thing, AHIDF, Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund. What if they ask a question for prelims? AHIDF, the Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund, and they talk about DIDF, Dairy Infrastructure Development Fund, National Animal Disease Control Program, NADCP. This appears in many of your books also. And the farmers double their income through livestock sector, which I already discussed. And the Department of Rural Development and the Animal Husbandry Dairy Department is going to come up with a new concept called as A-Help. It's called A-Help, which means Accredited Agent for Health and Extension of Livestock Production. So such things can definitely come in the prelims. And this is implemented through a national cadre of dairy people who are called as the Pashu Sakhis. So remember, you can actually quote this concept of Pashu Sakhis in the mains paper when you have something to write about dairy. So this is an existing national cadre of dairy people. And please remember DNRLM, Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, National Rural Livelihood Mission. Try to find out the important concept of this for prelims as well as mains. Next, from a GS paper 2, welfare schemes for vulnerable section, the PIB discussed about Atal Pension Yojana. So this keeps coming because now Atal Pension Yojana is very important because a lot of people are enrolling in this. That is a news item. So definitely this is a very good initiative. It's a universal global social security system for India. That means it is actually launched by the PFRDA, so that people in the age category, the citizens of India in the age category of 18 to 40 years can actually be a part of this system, so that at the age of 60, people will start receiving pensions. Especially people from the underprivileged classes, the poor people, the unorganized sectors can actually benefit from this. That means you have to make a contribution for 20 years. So very good social security system. In the news, Atal Pension Yojana total enrollments crossed 3.30 crores people have enrolled in this. That means it was launched in 2015, especially for the poor, underprivileged, unorganized sector. It is administered by the PFRDA, the Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority. Please remember that. And you have to make a contribution for 20 years at least. People in the category of citizens of India, 18 to 40. 20 years make contribution and start getting pensions at the age of 60. So please try to find more about Atal Pension Yojana, very important from GS paper 2, welfare schemes. Moving on to the next important item that came in the PIB was Riverine Ecosystem. An article that talked about riverine ecosystem, especially from the perspective of, they also discuss geospatial technology of riverine ecosystem. GS paper 1 and 3, geographical features plus prelims facts. You need to know about the ecosystem. What do you mean by the ecosystem? What are the different type of ecosystems? And also, what do you mean by geospatial technology? Which of the following are geospatial technologies? What are the uses of geospatial technologies? Questions for mains also. So riverine ecosystem is basically called as the lotic ecosystem. So you know that riverine ecosystems basically consist of rivers, streams, etc. And they also talk about the longitudinal gradations, the temperature differences, turbidity, atmospheric gases concerned with the river. So let's quickly find out. They talk about a lotic ecosystem. Riverine ecosystem is a lotic ecosystem. It exhibits longitudinal gradation, turbidity, dissolved material, etc. And geospatial technology is nothing but our favorite, the GIS, remote sensing SAT technique, GPS, the global positioning system, the remote sensing. So it is an emerging field that studies GIS, GPS, remote sensing, etc. So find more about geospatial, very important for prelims and mains. So that was all regarding the PIB code. I hope you really liked. This is a very important summary for your civil services current affairs preparation. I hope you like this summary. So subscribe to the channel for more such summaries, and also tell it to your UPSC preparing friends so that they can also study current affairs. So this was PIB code, and you are listening to Learnstroke.